Yeah, Bree, what are your thoughts? You had to actually watch Roger Rabbit, right?
Oh no, I had seen it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, you watched it.
we didn't get to hear your
I'm just saying we didn't get your Roger Rabbit takes yet.
Oh, I loved it when I was a kid.
But now?
And I still love it now.
Oh,
okay.
I've rewatched it like multiple times throughout the years, and it's always a fun one. So
Okay.
How do you feel about that weasel that's going to ram him?
we've started saying that way too much around the house.
We're literally walking, like, Bob's like, I don't remember that part at all.
It does stand out.
You can find it
weird.
on Yarn. If Yarn's a horrible website, but if you just Google Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I'm gonna ram him, you will hear one of the weirdestly delivered lines in movie history.
Yeah, well, he was. He thought he
tried.
was. He tried. So I guess that's the opening.
Look, every episode will now begin with someone's fresh take on Roger Rabbit.
That should be it.
All right, so don't say you don't know how to start the podcast. You do now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's unsure yet.
So
It's still in pilot mode or test mode.
So it's. I don't know how to start the podcast yet. So it's either going to be just starting on, or something along the lines of Welcome to Late to the Movies. This is a podcast where me, Ben Holt, and my friends get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week, we'll pick a movie that either I or a guest hadn't seen before and really should have by now. This week, continuing, because I had COVID when I had to come up with a theme, High School Movies Month. You'd think, didn't we do that in June? We did. Or in last September? Yep. There's a lot of them, though.
High school.
Ooh.
We all went there.
Yeah. No one can deny that.
Yeah, no. Everybody went there. The way you said that makes it sound like you didn't, but you did. I can confirm.
I saw him.
Yeah,
I
for
saw
sure.
him. There we go. I said it into the mic.
Yeah, so this week, the movie, continuing High School Movies Month, is Carrie, 1976's Carrie. The one different thing we're doing this month is it's not all sort of just like buzzy teen comedies. We did Rushmore, which is obviously an indie movie. And now we're doing Carrie, which is a horror movie. So there you go. So get off my back, I guess is what I'm saying to someone out there who's complaining about it. Anyway.
Is it Greg?
No, no one is complaining. No, we don't get... Noah filters out all the negative feedback.
That makes sense. I can't wait till the next time I see Greg and he's just like, I live rent-free in your head.
He doesn't know. He doesn't listen to the episodes. I told him recently that there's like a long-running feud that he's half of.
A one-sided
feud where
He thought that was funny.
I'm sure he did.
He talked all day and I hadn't coughed one time, but it's just specifically talking about movies, I guess. Yeah. Take Carrie to prom. It's a real scream or whatever the tagline was. It's pretty good. If you have a taste for horror, take Carrie to the prom, I think, is what it says on the poster.
Yeah, look it up.
I don't remember the tag.
But before we get to the prom with Carrie, let's talk about some other stuff. Mainly, my guest, your guest, everyone exists. Left to right across your podcast style. We got Bree.
Hello.
We got Vaz.
Plug it up.
We got Sam.
Hi.
Much like the movie, that's how we should have started the podcast.
Yeah.
Before we get there,
Okay, we'll get to it later.
you guys watch anything good recently?
I'll tag off of whatever Bree's going to start off because I already know what she's going to talk about.
I have a few things actually.
Okay.
Well, one of them, I guess.
The last few days or so, very gay and very Jewish movies. I watched the Adam Sandler Nepo Baby movie, which was actually very good. I thought it was very cute. It was You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. She's young. I don't think she's done anything else. I think the older sister's in it too. But it was a very, very cute movie, just a coming of age Jewish movie. Then I saw Bottoms in movie theater.
I also saw Bottoms.
And I also saw Bottoms.
Rachel Seno is very, very quickly rising up in favorite actresses, and that movie is just an instant classic for me. It's probably going to be in my rotation of comedy movies now.
Do you watch The Bear by any chance?
No, I did hear she's in it.
Yes, she's Ayo's very good in both The Bear and
Ayo's
Bottom.
in The
Yes,
Bear too?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's one of the bears.
Oh, I don't know anything about the show. I just know people thirst over the main guy.
It's about the Chicago Bears.
And then because I liked Bottoms so much, and then I also liked Rachel Seno and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I finally watched Shiva Baby.
Hey, nice.
And oh my god, it sucks that Rachel Seno is neither Jewish or gay, but she just crushes the bisexual disaster representation that I'm here for. That movie was very good at conveying an anxiety attack. The whole thing was just perfect.
Shiva Baby, right?
Shiva Baby.
Yeah.
Shiva Baby. It's
Shiva,
Jewish.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Shiva Baby.
Yeah.
That's also Emma Spielberg.
Seligman.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
close.
She directed Bottoms as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Bottoms.
Yeah.
I think
You announced that you were going to do something next.
Oh no,
so-
it's Bottoms. I also saw Bottoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that was it.
It was also very good. Great time.
I haven't gone back to movie theaters since COVID. It seems like
Yeah.
a good idea.
Definitely go watch Bottoms.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, this is like gay super bad or something like that." But the best thing about it is that
That
it
was
feels
Booksmart.
like it's
fair.
No, but they're both
they're
gay
both-
in Bottoms.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's just getting gayer and gayer
Yeah.
versions of Superbad.
But this one really just like it feels like it's a complete own thing. Like it's not like trying to be like I mean, it is like a teen comedy, but it's really unique in its own way.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's like a satire of teen comedy while being its own thing. Just because, I don't want to spoil any jokes, but to the degree of like there's a kid in a cage and it's just not explained. He's just kind of in the background
Nice.
in the classroom in a cage.
A lot of the humor reminded me of Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very Wet Hot
Yeah.
American Summer
Very.
like vibe from like a
Extremely
comedy.
good news.
that's a good. That's a
Yeah.
good comparison.
I think that
How's Marshawn Lynch?
Very good.
so I have a weird thing with Marshawn Lynch. I don't think he was there for any of the filming with any of the other actors because you know how like that I like to call it like the Arrested Development green screen thing where you can kind of like after a while you're just like every shot with Marshawn Lynch is just a tight on him and
It's like Tig Notaro in
Yeah.
the Chris
Army of the
D'Elia
Dead.
replacement movie. Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
not that that has anything wrong with it, but it's just kind of like as I was watching it, I'm like I don't think
There's maybe
Marshawn
like a
Lynch
couple
was-
scenes that he was
There's
actually
a couple
in.
scenes, like there's a classroom scene that I think he was with them,
Right.
but it seems like for a lot of the other scenes he wasn't. But yeah, he does exactly what you think he'd do,
Yeah, he's great in it.
not unlike his Murderville appearance.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I actually think that the two main characters are probably are a lot closer in a dynamic in like to the Superbad than like Booksmart was. Like it is really Rachel Seno's basically just playing like a Jonah Hill type. And AO is kind of like she's doing her own thing. It's not obviously like a Michael Cera impression or anything. Like she's definitely got her own like awkward like nerd vibe, but I think it really works in that world. You really kind of grab Rachel Seno's vulnerability and then over exaggerating her faults, like to try to make up for it. But yeah, that movie is wild. The football team's also very good. Like
Cool.
like the way that they deliver lines and act is very good.
Yeah, great movie. Can't wait to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for this month, Bottoms is definitely a good one to discuss for sure because it's high school, right?
Yeah. Oh, whoa, that's the month.
It's the month. Yeah.
It's tied.
Carrie, 1976. We're doing this because I don't know that I had actually like seen this before. I don't think I was like the person that has definitely not seen it. I definitely have seen the opening sequence and a lot of the prom sequence and the ending, like the final jump scare thing. But I don't think I've ever sat down and watched Carrie. I feel like we're hitting a lot of movies like that recently, which is a good thing.
The same way. I think I thought I saw it already, but apparently I haven't.
Yeah. A lot of connective tissue and like pacing was news to me. So,
And I feel like if I watched it on television, I would not have seen all of it anyway.
No,
right. Yeah. Fair enough.
the beginning would have been a lot harder.
Yeah, I would think I would have missed a lot.
I did not know there was that much nudity in that movie.
Oh, first thing I kept saying
lot.
it. I was like, "Wow,
Yeah, it's De Palma.
okay." I was like, "There just keeps being more naked women in the
Yeah,
beginning of
there-
this movie."
there's
and
a
they're in
lot of
high
pushing to
school.
start.
Yeah.
As a 70s De Palma, you know.
Yeah,
It's more that it's supposed to be high school girls, and it's like I know they're all actually like in
they're
their
all
20s,
running
but
around
it's
with
Yes.
signs that say "I'm
20
18."
seemed generous.
well,
Maybe
Sissy is like
30s.
20. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll get there. Had either of you seen it before?
I hadn't seen it. I'll go as far to say like I knew what happened from context clues of like the world, or media, I should say. But I had never seen, I don't even think, a minute of this movie. I hadn't seen the ending scene. I hadn't seen the jump scare at the end. I hadn't seen the beginning. I didn't know the plug it up bit. Like I didn't know. Like, I was telling her, like we can get into it. I'll let you talk first. Sorry.
I was gonna say I also haven't seen it. I knew like everything about it going into it. Like I knew what happens. I've seen a lot of the scenes. I had also seen bits and pieces of the 2013 remake. Mm-hmm. I want to read the book. I haven't read the book yet. But I knew that it's been a movie that's been on like my want to watch list for a while, like most Stephen King movies. But yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty different from the book, but a lot of the broad strokes are similar. And then obviously it's a sub 100-minute movie, so hard to fit in a whole novel, even though it's a pretty short novel. Right. His first novel, I believe, he wrote in his 20s. Like a lot of Stephen King movies, he's not that mad about this one, but there has been most of the other attempts at it have been more true to the novel, which as he's become more of a like presence himself. In 1976, they paid him, I think he says like $2,500 for the rights to the movie. And then like other people wrote it and De Palma directed it. And,
was this
he wasn't that involved.
Adaptation of a Stephen King novel?
I'm assuming so. It's his first novel, which came out in 74, and then the movie's 76.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking timing wise, probably. So I guess any of us can give us a 1-minute plot summary if anyone's got any.
I can do it. Start the clock. So, Carrie's having a real bad time in gym class, and turns out that she has a giant wound in her body. Wait, nope, it's just a period. But she didn't know that, and a bunch of girls start throwing tampons at her, and then that goes real bad. It turns out she's got telekinesis, which is like kind of cool, but unfortunately, her mom's a fucking liability, and she really likes God, and not in the fun way. And then all the popular girls, there's a teacher that comes up to him and is like, your prom's ruined. And they're like, for what? Because we threw a bunch of tampons at a girl everyone hates? And they're like, it's the 70s. And then like, nah, for real, it's bad. And then they're like, okay. So they're like, oh, we're going to help out, give her a hot guy to go with. And then John Travolta's there. And then they're like, we're going to kill a pig. And then John Travolta pretends to kill a pig. And then they take the blood and they put it on top of a beam. And then the teacher's like, yeah, you're here, you're having a great time. And she's like, I am having a great time. And they're like, go on the stage. And they dump pig's blood on her. And then she goes, shit. Now I got to fucking zap everybody with my telekinesis. And everybody dies but like one girl. And then she goes to her grave. And then she gets her hand grabbed. And that's the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much the movie. So this is our first Travolta movie.
Really?
Our first De Palma movie for Sissy Spacek. She wins Best Actress like only 4 years after this.
For Coal Miner's
Daughter. And our second PJ Souls movie. So, there you go.
The girl who plays Maya, this is our second movie from her as well.
There's a couple, yeah.
She's the singing voice, uncredited, for Jessica Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you, of course, know the other PJ Souls movie.
Of course.
So she was.
We don't even need to say it.
Let's all say it on three.
It's pretty famous.
It's famous.
Norma, she's wearing the hat.
Yep.
The other movie we've done is also the 70s, but after this, also a horror movie.
We already got it.
Yep.
Let's all
on
say it.
three. 1, 2, 3.
Norma
Titanic.
Ray.
Little movie called Halloween.
Just missed it.
She's the one that has sex with her boyfriend, and then Michael Myers comes back in the room and he's like wearing the sheet because like all of a sudden Michael Myers is doing bits,
humor.
and she flashes him, and then he strangles her while she's on the phone.
I can't believe gay icon Norma had sex with a guy in Halloween.
I just like that she wears that hat the whole movie.
Yeah.
Whether she's at a formal event, gym class, wearing that hat.
It's like
class.
It's like she went to Brian De Palma. She's like, I'll do this movie, but I'm wearing this hat.
Hat stays on.
You also talked about like the ages of everyone. I think it was helpful throughout watching the movie to know that they are, for the most part, like in their 20s, if not mid-20s. I mean, they don't look like teenagers for the most part. I guess Sissy Spacek just has her own specific look, and this is probably the first time a lot of people had seen her, so that's different. But yeah, always hard to know when to jump into movies that literally have like classes taught about them. You can take seminars on Carrie. It's on most best high school movies, most best horror movie lists.
Some best movie lists.
Yep. The Exorcist was the big breakthrough for horror at the Academy Awards. This, only a few years later, gets acting nominations for Sissy Spacek, supporting actress nomination for Piper Laurie, who plays her mom, which is so always hard to know when to break in for movies like this, except not really specifically for this one, because this movie was so good.
It is.
Holy shit. I didn't know how good this movie was, and sorry to Carrie, because like I think like the 3 or 4 things you called out as like, I didn't know that this happened. There's like, I had seen those scenes like out of context. Movie itself, fucking good.
Yeah. I know I've seen a few De Palma films before, and I know like one thing about him is that he likes to he doesn't like to reuse a shot. He likes doing new shots, something that is new. And you see that everywhere in this movie. There's like so
New
many
to him,
defocuses.
Old for Hitchcock, either way.
But I just love the direction in this movie. The way the camera moves everywhere.
Yes.
The cinematography.
The lighting.
Yep.
The lighting in this movie was great.
It just.
I was popped for a split diopter shot.
Yep. I literally clapped when Carrie was announced for prom queen and Billy, I assume his name is, for prom king. Yeah. Not because they won. It's just because there was this great tracking shot of them voting for themselves and then watching the vote go in and then watching the wire up to the bucket and then the zoom in on them getting announced as prom king and queen. And I was like, that's just perfect filmmaking.
Not to skip around too much, but I went back and watched that scene a couple times because I had read your Letterboxd review, which mentions that specific thing before watching the movie. And as it was going up the string to like the bucket and the rafters, I was like, wait, when did this shot start? And it was like, oh, it's when PJ Souls picks up the ballot from their table. You follow her all the way around the room, and then you follow the string all the way up, and they announce there, and then the camera goes down, and you see Carrie and Tommy.
It's
insane.
A marvel.
And that's not even my favorite shot. My favorite shot's like a minute or two before that when they're spinning.
Oh yeah, that's
Speaking of Alfred Hitchcock, definitely like the Vertigo kiss scene where it spins around them and the background changes. Except this is like so much more intense.
Oh yeah, went on for a while. Like it kept going
faster and faster, and it's like so ecstatic and also kind of like the Willy Wonka tunnel scene vibes wise.
Yep.
It's just kind of like watching it go like, holy fuck, this is awesome.
Another great, well, it's actually just a really fun shot I thought of, or that I liked in it, was when the mean girl is about to run Carrie over with her car.
I'm gonna ram her.
And Carrie blocks it with her telekinesis.
Yeah.
And then we see the shot of her and John Travolta in the car, and it's like spinning around and around. But they're static.
It's just the frame.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. There should have been like a cartoon, like that sound in the background. This is just about how it looked.
My favorite scene was the when Carrie was trying to ask her mom if she could go to the prom at like dinner, and they have the lightning that keeps flashing on Piper Laurie, and then it cuts back to Carrie, and there's so much light on her face. In my head, it's obviously like I'm assuming it's symbolizing like the hope and the happiness that she has in that moment. And Piper Laurie throws like water or something at her, and not only does it hit her, but it knocks all the lights off at the same time. Just like everything, just like just such like a simple thing, but just like an immediate you feel the mood be killed by that. Like it is. Such a palpable, like, and the lightning isn't hitting her. It's only hitting Piper Laurie from like a lighting perspective. Just simple, like that's not even that hard. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
it's the thing that separates like really good filmmaking from it's a dinner scene. It's
Yeah.
two people at opposite sides of the table having dinner and having
Yeah.
like a tense conversation.
Instead of like Clint Eastwood like taking like two shots, like okay, wrap it, let's go.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
he probably took like 10 shots at that and like poor Sissy
Carrie
Spacek.
got railroaded. They were unfair to her. He only does movies about guys that got railroaded.
Yeah.
So it would be a little out of his comfort zone since it's about like a young woman. But
I do want to watch the new.
just yelling at an empty chair.
Wait for the chair to go.
I want to watch the new Carrie just to compare it and see how.
Oh, the Chloe Moretz.
Yeah, the Chloe Moretz and Julianne
Please,
Moore
please,
one.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Grace
Not
Moretz.
confuse her
never
with all the
remember
Chloe
her name.
Moretzes out there.
But I want to just compare it, just see like, oh wow, this is not as good.
So I looked into the differences because the remake came out when I was in high school in
2013.
2013. It was my senior year, so it was very zeitgeist for me. It was like, oh, this is a prom movie my senior year. But yeah, I never actually watched it or anything. But I was curious the other day after we watched Carrie what the differences were, and one of the big things that I saw was that the original, even though it's labeled as a horror movie, it's more of a tragedy. And the new one is more horror. It tries to more scare you, like. So it's definitely not supposed to be as good, but it's a different direction. Because, the 76 one is supposed to, like, I felt sad watching the 76 version. I
did too.
I wasn't scared at all, like, at any point. I was just sad.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's scary.
Right.
No.
But the
it's
2013 one,
effective.
yeah, the 2013 one is supposed to be scary.
Yes, and I think the novel is too. And I think
Right.
my understanding is the 2013 one's truer to the novel, and Carrie is supposed to be way more powerful and way more aware of her powers and like have other powers besides telekinesis in the
okay,
novel. And then the ending and the prom thing plays out entirely differently also in the novel.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I like it whenever she uses her telekinesis. There's that little.
Oh, the
Yeah.
chord. Yeah, the
Yeah,
chord was really
that was
good.
really good.
The music and like the Foley work even for like a bunch of like stuff, it feels so homebrewed but like
Yes.
effective.
Mhm.
Like it's not like it almost I don't know how far technology was on that side, but it almost was just like he was like, I'm doing Hitchcock stuff and I don't give a shit, you know,
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
I'm dealing with.
yeah, there's definitely like some kind of creative license to a lot of the special effects and
Yeah.
the sounds and whatnot in a good way.
And I really like the telekinesis isn't like talked that much about. It's
No.
much more implied.
Kind of a light touch.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of movies now, like you'd have a whole like a best friend would be like, "Dude, what do you? Oh, you could do this!" Like you know,
Oh,
like it's
the
like
Marvel
They-
dialogue.
They would also need to
Oh, that
try and
just
explain
happened.
it as in some way.
Yeah, it
turn
only
right.
works when it's nighttime, you know, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
You got the power because of your house is in a dimensional
We have
void
to-
or
We
whatever.
have to explain why you got this power, or else no one's gonna understand the
You're
movie.
falling from another
Yeah.
planet. Carrie.
Yeah, to your point, I would have been better if Carrie turned to the camera after flipping over John Travolta's car and been like, so that just happened.
I would have hated it. Oh my god. But yeah, I feel like directors definitely trusted their audience more back then.
I don't know if it's so much director. I think it's more studio.
Oh sure, yeah, for sure.
And just kind of while we're talking about a lot of the differences, the main differences are like a lot of smallish differences just in terms of characterization of the smaller characters, just because
Goat's blood in that movie.
Yes. Well, it's a novel and there's more time. Like Sue's a lot bigger of a character, the only one who survives here.
Yeah, because it feels that way because like the ending is a little kind of like, and it's Sue, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
you know, like they don't really flesh out Sue that much.
Yeah,
so.
she's like just about a main character. She has her own like ominous premonitions about the prom that something bad's going to happen. And so she's a lot more like involved directly. She's there like when Carrie dies because it's not in her house in the novel. it's with Sue, and Sue like they actually like telepathically connect, and Sue like experiences her dying, I guess, and is really fucked up after it.
One would assume.
Yeah.
Well, she seems pretty fucked up in this one.
That
She's
makes the
also pretty fucked
ending.
up.
That makes the ending of the movie make more sense of why like she had that dream that was so like real.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that's the fix, I suppose. That's not in the novel at all, that ending.
Oh, the ending for this one, I took it more as in just she's just stuck with this trauma forever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But it does feel like they tried to get that ending to like kind of tie it to the book of it kind of being like a telepathic connection like that. But it kind of just seemed like a half-ass attempt to like it's still a good ending on its own, but if you're comparing it to the movie, it does kind of feel like they just kind of tried to squeeze that in like that.
Yeah. I think the bully character is also a lot more fleshed out, and her relationship with the John Travolta character. That one's Billy. The good dumb boyfriend of Sue is Tommy.
Oh,
I think that's
Tommy.
right, yeah.
I got him. Tommy's, Billy's, they're all the same.
I mean, yeah, it's the 70s. Tommy's the one with that incredible hair.
Yes.
And that somehow dies from a bucket to the head.
Oh, no, I think
that high up.
he more got knocked out. Oh, wait, no, he didn't get knocked out from
No,
that.
he straight up dies
Oh,
from
he
the bucket
dies,
landing on his
yeah.
head. Yeah.
Oh, it's from the bucket? I thought maybe it's from the fire of the...
No, the bucket kills him.
Like he just left him there.
Kid's got no
I
chin.
think
Bucket
it's a little ambiguous in the movie, just because like
He does die.
they
do say
like
that
a
he
bunch
died.
of people do try to carry him. Well, yeah, I mean he ends up locked in the burning gym, so it doesn't matter. But people do try to like carry him away, and it looks like they're trying to get him to respond.
It is a metal bucket.
But I
so-
think he does die from the bucket in the book.
Yeah, I think there is a
Like it's like very explicit
right.
because she doesn't burn it down. Then she leaves and then comes back later in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Takes a walk.
Yeah, she tries to walk it off, decides she's still mad. Or, I mean, grain of salt, I haven't read it. I read an article about the differences.
Right.
Did you guys think that Tommy and what's her name? Sue.
Carrie.
Sue.
Sue. Like we're in on the plan to dump the blood on Carrie. Because I thought they were I thought he was like being like, oh, I'm bringing you to the prom as like a joke.
No.
We were like literally like they had just been named prom king queen walking up, and I'm like I forgot how I phrased it. I was like, it would have been funny if Tommy like realized he was under the bucket and he was like, oh, you got to go. You know, I forgot what I said. I said something.
I think
like
we
that.
literally paused to discuss
And
that
then
part.
you were like, no, he's not in on it. I'm like, what do you mean he's not in on it? He's definitely on it. Him and Sue, like Sue calls her and it's like, oh, we're going to do like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, they're totally like, they're just sowing the seeds. And then.
Yeah, I never thought
No,
that
they definitely
were
weren't.
in on it. Yeah. I'm not saying like you're wrong. I'm saying like, oh, that's really interesting that you were picking that up.
I was that far into it that I was like, oh yeah, they're definitely both.
Because the teacher has a good reason for thinking that. Because you're just like a shitty teenager.
Yeah.
I assume
Yeah,
you're
and she
doing
was,
shitty
like,
teenager
And
things.
she was friends with the shitty girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
And John Travolta. So I thought like, oh, like, and then she confronts them about it. So I was like, oh, I guess they like Sue's just lying to her,
that was
and
what
that
I thought.
they are just being mean.
Yes.
And then when I realized like, oh no,
This is
Sue
just
and
how-
Tommy are actually
Yeah.
really nice. Oh no.
Tommy's just kind of dumb and he's like along for the ride. But like when they're there, he's actually like being pretty charming, I guess.
Yeah.
Or at least like
Weird
That's
that he
why I
kisses
thought
her,
he was in
but
on it more. Sorry.
yeah,
Weird that he kisses
for
her.
sure that like to an extent, because then there's another part of this where it's like, I guess tomorrow he's gonna really fuck her up when he's like, I'm
Right.
still dating Sue.
Right.
Like they are teenagers, so I feel like long-term implications they were not thinking about.
Definitely not.
They were just like,
100%
oh, this is just a
not.
nice thing to do for Carrie.
Yeah.
And
It made a little more sense to me when it was established that you had to have a date to go, because my thought was like, why don't they just invite her to hang out with them while
Yeah.
they're there and like sit at their table? It's like, oh, okay, because you need a date, I guess. So that's why they worked it out that way. But it's definitely the way like a teenager would maybe think to.
Yeah, because they
Work
did
it
say it
out.
pretty early. That's like you could tell that Sue felt bad and she wanted to make it up to her somehow and wanted to give her like a normal experience, and that's why she was like, "Hey, go to prom with her." And yeah, he's just kind of a himbo. He's just like, well, so it kind of didn't seem like he didn't really know what was going on at first, but then he just kind of went with it. But yeah, no, they were never in on it. It always seemed like it was to try to kind of, she felt bad and was trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
I thought
It's just like in the novel, you spend a lot more time with that character,
Yeah.
and even like from their point of view, a lot more time too. So-
I'm not like I like this movie. It's not my type of movie. So like I probably won't rewatch Carrie. But like I almost want to rewatch it just to like go through those scenes again, because the whole time I was just like, oh yeah, sure, Tommy.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure nothing's going on. You know, like
And
I
one
can kind of sympathize with his like nervous laughing when they're talking to the teacher, and he's just
yeah.
like, "This wasn't my idea. Like you guys work this out. I'll do whatever whoever tells me to do something says to do."
when Tommy like asks out Carrie too, he's like being like, you gotta go to prom with me. You're not. I'm not taking a no for an answer. So I thought that was another thing of like, oh, like I feel like he has alternative motives.
That scene made him seem a little like, I can see the direction of like seeming like, oh, he's trying to set it up, but like it just seems like a more like he kind of like finally figured out what Sue was trying to do there, and he was like, okay, well, I want to make my girlfriend happy. And like he knows that if his girlfriend's not gonna go and Carrie isn't gonna go, he's not gonna go to prom because now he doesn't have a date. So he knew that he probably needed to convince her to go to the prom, otherwise like she wasn't gonna go. But I can definitely see the angle of it seeming kind of in a douchey way.
Yeah, for sure.
it also might have been. Sorry.
No, you were talking first.
Okay.
Go for it.
If it also might have been like conducive to like prom pranks and stuff, or like we already know what happens at the end of this movie. Like everyone went into this movie knowing what happened. So I think like for me, I've seen enough prom prank stuff in my life, or like something like that. It's like, oh, we're gonna go to the prom. It's gonna be great, you know, like Heather's, like all that. Like I know Heather's wasn't the prom, but like you know all that. Like, we're gonna invite you over. No, we're just being nice, and then it's like to kill you basically. But I think it's almost like weirdly subverted, even though I think this is like one of the first pieces of media that did something like this. So it's like I'm just so expecting all the popular kids to be in on it, and the fact that some aren't. Yeah. Like especially ones like Tommy that aren't coded to be nice guy, you know, like popular kid. Like Tommy's coded to seem like he's going to turn on her at any second, and he just really doesn't. Yeah.
One thing that it doesn't, I guess the end when you see it switch from what's actually happening as far as like who's laughing when she gets the blood on her, when it switches to her perspective with like the 8 different like kaleidoscoping things, it makes a more point of it. But like if you really look at it, there's a whole student body that, for the most part, they think she's quiet and maybe a little weird, but it's just the people who hang out with Chris that are mean to her.
Yeah.
Or the people who are around Chris when something's happening and get in on like a mob mentality type thing.
Yeah.
That's really just that opening scene in the locker room.
Well, later on,
and it's kind of just PJ Souls and Chris for the rest of the movie.
When the gym teacher is like scolding all the girls in like the gymnasium.
Yeah.
Carrie's watching from like a door, but there's graffiti that says Carrie eats shit. Yeah. So that made me think like, I guess everyone just hates Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably just the popular
also Chris.
Probably.
I mean that beginning scene's tough, and like I get it from like I don't want to say we've all been there, you know, because it's a very specific problem.
I haven't been.
I don't think so.
We haven't been there for that, but like I mean I've been in a place where like you do something embarrassing in a group full of people, and like obviously that's way more. What happens to her is way more traumatizing than anything that's happened to me. But like, yeah, not knowing what a period is, having one very publicly, and thinking you're dying, and then you're like, if you're a girl from the opposite
at
perspective,
that age too,
where you know what it is, you know what I mean? Like I'm not justifying, you know, or blaming the victim, but it's just like a 70s unpopular girl, you know, terrible situation for everybody else. But like, yeah, the fact that like over half the group was like, yeah, let's stop being a dick to Carrie, and like one girl was like, nah, fuck her, put her on the ground. Like,
I will say though, the very, very beginning, so like when a woman doesn't have a period like at that age, it's usually because she's malnourished or like there's something going on, which makes sense with her mother being the way that she is.
And Sissy Spacek kind of looks a little she's very pale.
She was very thin and very pale.
Yeah, that's true.
But the mom talking about how she was like born of sin and stuff like that, so like maybe that with the telekinesis played into it. But like, yeah, at that age, it's rough to not know what it is, and if you hadn't had it up until that point. But like, other people don't have that experience. Like girls get it at like 10 or 11 normally. So you're not going to think that someone that hasn't had it yet, or that someone hasn't had it yet. And at the very beginning, she kind of just freaks out and like puts the blood on someone else. So I can see kind of making fun and like being angry that someone just put their period blood on me.
I would have been. I
It was
probably
after
would
they
have been
changed
scared.
back into their school clothes,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
They
It
weren't
was
even
on their
gym stuff
uniform.
anymore.
So like I would have also been pissed and probably gotten physical. But as soon as it was clear that she was terrified, I would have been like, oh, there's something wrong. So it was very shitty that the whole locker room just kind of made fun of her after that.
Yeah.
Like just take her to like get her clothes and get her to like the nurse's office or something.
I mean,
but like
the gym teacher did slap her too.
I was gonna say back in the era where people
well,
just
she
get
was
slapped.
hysterical.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and that's what you do to a hysterical woman. You slap her.
Yeah. The gym teacher in the book is also a lot more
Slap happy.
neutral on Carrie. And she slaps her because she's pissing her off. She doesn't slap. In the movie, it's more like a snap out of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the book, it's because she's like, you're fucking pissing me off, and she hits her,
Jesus.
I guess. And she doesn't actually like come around on her till towards like the end of the book. She doesn't do like any of the fairy godmother stuff that the one in the movie does.
Does make her death more impactful.
Yeah, in the
For
movie.
sure, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of changes that I think make the movie more effective in some ways. They just seem like very different stories. I don't think one's necessarily better than the other, especially without having read the book. Should mention, because when you said like she thought she was dying, and then I was thinking of Sissy Spacek going, I thought I was dying, mama. And like most Stephen King novels, this is, of course, set in Maine, northern New England. And it's just this one family that has like Southern accents. It's funny. It doesn't specify in the movie where it's set, and so it doesn't really look like Maine either.
No.
But
No, I thought it
just
was
looks
somewhere
like-
in the Bible Belt.
Yeah,
Yeah. Kind of
Because
assuming.
God forbid subtlety.
Again, I mean, it's De Palma. He's going to do Hitchcock stuff.
Yeah, I know. I when I saw Bates High School, I was like, oh, like
It's not even subtle at that point.
Or I don't know. It's like that's definitely, if that's not in the novel, but like maybe it is.
Yeah.
There's a Bates College in Maine. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like,
if it's
like
in
just
the-
like it's like a BC High situation.
There's more than one Bates.
there's at
But
least
yeah,
two.
assuming it's a Hitchcock thing.
It's
Probably.
Adam Bates from Mighty Ducks
Yeah, that's probably who they were talking about
Yeah,
in the
that
70s.
movie that hadn't come out yet.
and Cake Eater High School.
Yeah. Starting at before the start, there's a kind of legendary lost sequence that they filmed for it originally that was going to be like a wraparound. It was going to start and also end with a hail of stones burying the house. And it looked so shitty when they shot it that they just completely scrapped the idea and apparently didn't even save the film. So I guess no one's seen it, but it was supposed to start and like that's how the house gets destroyed. And it just, the rocks coming down looked so bad, I guess. And I think it was also supposed to be a thing that like, or maybe it's in the book that when she was really little, she got mad and there was like a hail of stones or something. And so there was supposed to be shot like that, but it just looked really bad. And so instead they just did the fire and the poltergeist into the hole kind of thing for the end.
I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, starting in the start of what actually made it into the movie, do you guys have showers in high school gym?
We talked about that.
Oh yeah.
We did, didn't we?
We did have showers, but like, so
Wait, there were showers there.
They-
No one
yeah.
used them.
I remember in middle school we had showers and everyone laughed like, "Oh God, imagine if we actually had to use these showers." And then in high school it was the same thing, but like the football team actually used them.
Yes,
And we're like, "Oh, okay," but like that's
but it
really
wasn't
what-
like in the middle of the school day for gym class.
no, like I think like once in a while a kid would, but not like I can remember one like Chris DeShane's used to like for whatever reason.
You're on
But-
notice.
if he's listening. I remember I played basketball, and I would say like after basketball practice, half the kids would shower there and then go home. I don't remember if I was even driving by then because I only played freshman year. So I think my dad would just come pick me up and I'd shower when I got home.
Yeah.
But I remember kids doing the shitty, like I have a very, very vivid memory of a kid being like, "Hey, halt, turn around." And I'm like, "Nice try." Like I'm gonna turn around. And then it would be like your nutsack, like being like contorted in a way that's comical for you. Like, and then they all laughed and I just left. Like it wasn't anyone who picked on me. It was just like like I know what this is.
In a locker room in a teenager
literal
situation.
Locker room talk.
Yes. Yeah.
But weird that everyone's just like, "It's time to shower," because it's
I think that probably was more prevalent in the 70s and you know, where we were in school. I think it's gotten less prevalent over time.
I was saying to Bree when we were watching, like, I wonder when it was like, you know, because theoretically they had to be a group of kids. So it's just like, no.
Who are those brave souls that paved the way?
85 or something like
that made it so I didn't know what everyone's dick looked like.
I want to go home and watch Ghostbusters. I don't want to be looking at guys' dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in middle school the showers were basically just storage. Like I don't think there was even water that ran through them or anything. Then in high school, during the actual school day, we weren't allowed to use them because people kept having sex in them. And then they were only allowed to be used
to have sex after school.
You freshen up before class.
You freshen up first. By like teams and stuff, like after practice, after school. But yeah, during the school days, it was a big no-no.
And it feels weird to think that it's like, oh, period one gym. I'm just gonna fucking run around for 45 minutes and then just
be the rest of the day. Like,
yep, all the guys would just spray Axe like no tomorrow and think that would be it.
We did have Axe. I forgot about that.
That
is exactly what happened.
I was an Old Spice body spray.
I was also an Old Spice because it seemed less douchey. It really, if we're being honest.
It did smell a lot better than Axe. Axe was caustic.
Yep.
I guess it was better than what it was covering up, I suppose.
Yeah. Because it was funny because you'd have like guys that were spraying
no one was clean.
No.
Yeah.
But you'd have kids that were spraying like whole cans on them. And you'd be like, look at this douchebag. And then you'd spray like half a can on yourself.
Just an X.
Yeah, just an
X. That's what you need.
The pits.
I think that even that was too much.
I didn't sweat that much in high school. Or, I mean, in gym.
You didn't really,
Me either, honestly.
No, I didn't. There's a reason why.
I didn't really either.
Yeah.
So this isn't a score one. We're just on the track. I'll keep score. I'll keep score.
Yeah.
I tried
I'll
really
give it
hard.
times.
Oh yeah, I had gym outside all the time in the Florida heat year round. I didn't really sweat.
We're not in Florida, baby.
No, I know.
We were playing floor hockey in like September. It
It's
was
so
like,
weird.
it's too cold out.
It's so weird that y'all have gym mostly in the gym.
Oh yeah.
Ours was mostly outside in the fall and the spring.
Oh, really?
It was just in the winter we'd be inside.
Oh,
I feel like we were inside
was nice
for
in
a lot of
the
it.
spring.
Oh yeah, I think
And fall.
you've told me that you mostly indoor.
I think an interesting point of reentry. You mentioned before that this one's not really so much a horror; it's more a tragedy.
It's definitely a tragedy. Yeah.
You do feel so bad for Carrie, and I think the part that I felt worst for her was actually before the prom, when she's getting ready and she has like the news clipping about Tommy tucked into her mirror.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
Yep. It's
oh no.
And the stuff with her mom too. Like I viscerally hate characters that are that deeply religious in media. It just it gets me so angry.
I think the mom's getting a little bad rap here. She gives Carrie her own praying room.
With a really zonked out
Jesus.
That Jesus statue
I was waiting for
so
those eyes
funny.
to move. I was
yeah, same at the end.
If we ended up doing this on Discord, I was going to make that my background, like one of the close-ups on that guy's face.
Very glad we didn't do that.
That has to be a homemade Jesus,
with
right? Or did
his
she buy
glowing
this?
They just had
eyes.
Sissy make it.
His glowing eyes, though.
It looked so like
Why does he
Google
have
Eye.
glowing
Yeah.
eyes?
He's always watching.
In the weird Harry Potter closet, like it's just. Ugh.
Well, yeah.
Do we want to talk about the mom now? I feel like we haven't really talked.
Yeah, we haven't talked
Yeah,
about
we
Piper.
can. And yeah, I was going to say anyway, like, especially when she's insisting to her mom that, like, he's a nice boy, you'd like him. And it's like, even when she's happy, you can't lose sight of, even if this goes well, and because this is a very famous movie, you know prom's not going to go well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if this goes well for her, she's like, best case scenario, going to get really fucked up when he's like, I'm not dating you, actually.
Right.
But yeah, that's her argument to her mom when, which ends with her deciding that she cannot suffer a witch to live. the mom, Piper Laurie, an Oscar-nominated performance, goes big.
Yes,
Yes,
I
very
love
It
it.
goes big.
Maybe the biggest anybody's been in an Oscar-nominated film since then.
I feel like women in horror are completely underrated.
Yeah. Lisa.
Speaking of horror, did Jared Leto get nominated for House of Gucci?
I think so. No, he didn't.
He got some critic circles, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he
Maybe a Golden Globe.
Yeah. It is a great performance because you just like, you hate this person. One of the articles I was reading about the differences between the book was lamenting that it doesn't go into how bad the mom is and like how much shit she puts Carrie through. And it's like, I feel like that translates.
I'm sure she could have put her through more shit.
Get it. I mean, I don't need more scenes to be like, I kind of get the whole picture, even the stuff it's not showing. And just
Right. They did a good job at like you getting the picture. Like I feel like other characters,
get the relationship.
Yeah. I feel like the other characters, like you mentioned, they didn't get to be fleshed out, especially with like their intended purposes in the book. But the mom, you got like right away, like her whole deal.
The scene where after prom, before her mom attacks her, where she goes to get in the bathtub and the mom's just standing behind the door
The whole time.
It's like, okay, that part's a horror movie.
Yeah.
That whole sequence is a horror
No cord on that either. Like
No, that's
No,
that's
you see
the best
her.
part.
You see her the whole time as she's coming up the stairs.
Yep.
You're like, there
Carrie
she
doesn't
is.
see her at all. And she just
Looking like the dang bride from Haunted Mansion.
Yep. She just waits there, waits for her to finish taking a shower,
Yeah.
and then she strikes.
Because she is waiting for her to clean herself to the purity.
Yeah.
so then she can mama gothel all over.
Yeah. when she makes Carrie bleed, she wants to know that it's her blood.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
needs to know.
Oh, that reminds me. I also loved the scene where she's scolding Carrie for the dress that she's wearing because like of the red stuff, and Carrie's like, it's not red, it's pink, and then she comes home in the blood-stained red dress.
Yeah, that was really good.
Peak.
Also, her dress is really nice, and she made
I
that
liked
too.
I
It was
liked
very
that dress
nice.
a lot.
Good
Yeah.
dress, yeah.
What did she call her boobs? Her sin pillows or something?
Dirty pillows.
Dirty
Yeah.
pillows.
It's like, I don't know what boobs you're looking at, but all right.
They're called breasts, mama. Every woman has them.
I don't know why that just popped like Waterboy into it. It showed me a boobie that I liked.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of the and I liked it when Piper Laurie's saying it about having sex with her really drunken husband.
Oh yeah.
And I liked it.
Wasn't she raped in the book?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot more explicit
I
about
knew that
why
one
she's
was,
so conflicted about
right.
Carrie existing.
I knew that one was a huge change that I definitely knew about in the book and the movie. Like it was not consensual in the book.
No, right. But that ending scene, so not the jump scare, but post prom. So speaking of, okay, blah, structure of the movie was surprising to me, not having sat down and watched it before, knowing the prom scene's such a big deal. I feel like a lot of movies you're like, oh, I know there's this huge climax that's such a big deal. It ends up on all these like top whatever lists. And then you watch the movie and it's actually like a pretty short sequence, but it is impactful. The movie, under 100 minutes long, and I think you're at the prom by like minute 50. I think it's like right at the halfway point you're at the prom.
I got there and I was like,
it's-
wow, like, how long is this prom?
Right.
I think it's actually before it's like minute 48 or something.
Yeah.
And then the prom's about a half hour. And then there's like another 15 minutes after that, which was surprising to me because it was like,
Yeah, same.
I'm surprised there's this much after the prom. She walks home, she kills John Travolta and Chris. And then there's the whole sequence with the mom when she's chasing her with the knife, and it's the point of view shot with her like smiling.
I love that so much.
That shot I've seen before, but that scene I haven't seen before. That scene's awesome.
Yes.
I didn't realize how early like the prom scene was. I do know that there was supposed to be like a rampage like after the prom. So when after the prom scene, I say finally, but like the prom scene was longer than I thought it was, but the rampage afterwards was about as long as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I actually thought there was more destruction because I think in the book she
It's the
kills
whole
like
town.
the whole city. Yeah. So I was expecting more of that. But no, it was just the school and then her mom.
It's the entire city
Yeah.
is burned down. The town. It's I think it's 400 something people.
Right.
that she kills. But yeah, that bit with the mom at the end, the whole like the tension of her going up to the bathtub, knowing that the mom, the few times they cut away to the mom during the prom sequence, which is like so delirious, and you can tell Carrie's head's spinning. The spinning shot is spinning. The stuff with Chris under the risers with the string and the bucket. And as all that's like building so much and building, and it cuts to the mom and she's just got the knife and she's just like whacking the knife against the cutting board.
Yep. Great cutting board, by the way.
Yes.
Thick,
Not a scratch
thick
on that.
cutting board.
Poor knife technique. That's
Yeah,
not the way
very
I would
bad.
cut
Yeah,
compare it.
she's like 40% success rate on hitting that carrot.
Yeah. My one flaw in the movie.
Yeah.
That's
And then the ending sequence, and she ends up ending up like the sort of like
her messed up Jesus.
diagonally crucified, messed up Jesus with all the arrows.
Yep.
Yeah. We've skipped around a lot, but I think it's okay.
I think so.
We've talked about the main points, which I actually kind of prefer usually with episodes.
And I also like I don't think they're not unimportant, but a lot of the beats early on in Act 1 aren't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a lot of them, but you're like,
Yeah, it's very.
like, when are we getting to the show? kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. I mean, like I loved when John Travolta was driving his car and he was drinking his beer and all his buddies would come by.
I actually.
He
was a
sees
lot
the
of fun.
cops and he throws it down, and his whole face is
Yeah. And Chris is just pissed because the beer went on her.
understandably.
I had
And then
another.
I
Hey,
think he
throw me
slapped
one
her.
of them
Yeah.
beers. And his one friend that's from Minnesota.
Yep.
What'd she keep calling him? Like, you're such a shit
not-
or something.
It's not dumbass. It's like
it's-
stupid.
It's stupid shit, I think.
Yeah, you're such a stupid shit.
shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I told you to stop calling me that.
So this is during Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah, I was,
But the year before Saturday Night Fever and 2 years
so
before
people
Grease.
knew
Before
it would be.
Grease.
This would be like.
I think it's his second movie.
This would essentially be like Ashton Kutcher being in Dude's Where's My Car, but like a Dude Where's My Car was like an actual seminal movie.
And then Ashton Kutcher had like multiple Academy
Oscar
Award nominations after that. When I say multiple, I do mean 2, but that's still multiple.
Yep. There's more than
In
that.
case John's listening.
Sorry, Jobs. Steve Jobs? Which one was he in? I think
He
it
was in
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
He was in Steve Jobs.
I think that's the one I saw. Then I think they made another one like a year after, just called Jobs.
The other one's good.
The other one's a Danny Boyle movie starring Fassbender.
And
That's
directed by,
really
written by
fucking good.
Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, and it's written by Aaron
Oh,
Sorkin.
okay.
And he's not directing, so you know you're in good shape.
That's the one where Seth Rogen is Steve Wozniak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And
Getting-
should have gotten a non-Academy
He's
Award
getting
nomination.
overly pissed at every single thing that he gets over. He gets
I gotta
railroaded.
ask you to do one thing.
Wait,
Thank the Apple II team.
did
He has it's one of my favorite Sorkin lines, which is delivered by Rogen in that movie, which is when people used to ask me the difference between you and I'd say, I like to tinker. Steve's the big ideas guy. Now when they ask me, I say, Steve's an asshole. It's like, oh, that's probably Sorkin's.
that's back when
Yes.
Sorkin still had his fastball in his paint
so
corners.
fucking good.
Why didn't Clint Eastwood direct that movie?
He got
Wozniak getting
railroaded.
railroaded all
Yeah.
over the place.
It would be called Wozniak. Then.
You'd be holding a fake baby.
Woz. That's what they call
It
it.
would be called
It would be
Woz.
called Woz.
The Woz.
Sorry, we were definitely talking about something else.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I gotta get this off.
John Travolta.
Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
Travolta.
Face off.
in that scene where Travolta's talking to his friends, there's a friend that has a hat that's like clearly just up to bullshit the whole time. And I was saying to Bree, I was like, this is what I love about the 70s is that in the 70s, everyone, like we were talking earlier, like all in the 70s fashion, like kids just dress like adults and it kind of looks weird. Like they just have adult clothes on as children.
Yeah.
So like when you're in high school, it's kind of similar, but like everybody's got this dirtbag friend. And the main thing in the 70s that you can tell they're a dirtbag is because they wear a hat. And what's made this even funnier to me is that every picture of your dad in the 70s, your dad's wearing a hat. And your dad loves telling stories about being a dirtbag in the 70s.
That's true. He does love that. He's a big fan of that.
God, we were drunk.
We did a stupid thing again.
How many pigs did your dad kill?
I don't think any.
All right.
I don't think
I'll
he
check
did
on
that.
To
that.
be fair.
Yeah.
John Travolta goes to kill a pig. He's in a pen with real pigs.
In his defense, he wasn't expecting to kill the pig that night, so he didn't have a great plan.
Yeah, but it's just like He pushes all
shoes
the
him,
pigs out of the way, moves back to the place where he's just moved all the pigs away from, and goes like, "Oh, there's my guy," and hits him. And it's like, John, I am 100% sure there's no pig right there. Like that's the only place in this pen.
Yeah.
That
Like you can
completely
see
convinced.
the tops of all the pigs. Like
They've all moved because he moved them.
Yep. And there's like a psycho style sting on each mallet swing.
I appreciate that they didn't have like a lot of under duress oinking in that scene. It was just kind of some
that's
hits
good.
and they moved
Yeah.
on.
animal abuse laws in movies, I don't think had passed.
Yeah, it was almost refreshing to see that scene. Like you clearly didn't see the pig get killed, and it was almost
I'd rather
comical
it be-
how much they weren't hitting a pig.
Yeah, I'd rather it be that cheesy than
Agreed.
hear
100%
animals under
agree.
duress.
I think
I was a
theoretically
little
they
worried
killed
going into that
multiple
scene.
pigs too.
Sorry, I talked over you.
No, I was just gonna say theoretically I think they killed multiple pigs for that much blood.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, because I don't think they're gonna take that one pig and then drain
No.
every last drop out of them.
Yeah, they also didn't bring a knife.
Yeah, they brought a mallet.
You're only getting it from blunt wounds, which is probably not great. Not that I've killed pigs,
Yeah.
but
In the novel, that relationship is, I guess, more prominent between Billy, that's John
Bill, yeah.
Travolta, and Chris, who is the villain character, Carrie's rival, sort of. Not that Carrie's aware that she's her rival. Chris sort of just decides.
it's very much like me and Greg.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically the same thing. Oh, he bet. I don't think there's any rafters at the party. We'll be outside mostly.
I'm going to cover Greg in blood.
Yeah, his kids will be there. That'd be weird.
Well, that's how he finds out he has telekinesis. So it'll be fun.
That's true. It's a
No,
net
he should know.
positive.
He should already know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because all the
All the
stingers that are
research.
going on.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. In the book, I think it's a lot more abusive, and Billy's a lot shittier to Chris. And I like that the way they translate that. The shortcut they do is that he's just very sensitive.
Yeah.
And he can just turn on a dime to being like, I told you, stop calling me that.
Slap.
Yeah.
They
It's very slap heavy.
Also, she's evidently going down on him, but still talking the whole time. That was quite impressive.
I thought it was going to be a dream sequence, and that was in his head because it's clearly not recorded her voice in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It sounded like because the audio quality switches to sort of just be not in the room, really.
I'm assuming it'd be a little too explicit if she's choking while saying it.
Cool.
So
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe she's not blowing him. Maybe she's just blowing on it.
It's
literally.
the 70s.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what he
fantasy.
wants. That's what he likes. Yeah.
She just heard the word blowjob and she's like, "This is how." It goes.
Yeah, and John's too embarrassed to be like, "You're doing it wrong." Hey, he doesn't know enough.
I don't want to get called stupid shit again. So I can't.
I think Travolta's actually genuinely one of the youngest people. in
he's
the
like
cast.
22, I
22, I
think.
think we looked
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really young.
You could just tell looking at that guy he's gonna be a star. There's just that chin's just too big. You got to send him to the top.
Send him to the top. Very quickly after this.
Yeah.
Happens. So, I'm trying to think of specific things we haven't hit on that we really should, but I guess we can just talk about. I mean, the prom sequence is, it is what they say it is. I guess it is.
Iconic, I guess you could say.
It is that bitch. I guess, as the kids
Got
say.
the juice.
It's got the juice.
It's perf.
They let her cook.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's somebody cooked here.
Yeah.
Somebody cooked
Yeah.
A lot
here.
of cooking.
It's all good. I don't know.
Yeah,
All good.
Her covered in blood. The
So
fire.
good. Iconic. You
That
feel-
one lady getting sliced by the basketball court hoop
Yes.
net.
No, the gym teacher.
It's kind of crazy how quick they do that. It's just gym teachers, you think they give her a dramatic
Run.
death. It's nope, see ya. It adds to the chaos of that
Yeah.
moment of just
honestly better off, better than being burned alive.
Yeah.
yeah, better than,
Better than a bucket to the head.
I guess I'd
That's
probably,
not Carrie's
That was
fault.
probably
I'd
instant,
probably-
though.
I'm just
At least.
thinking
Yeah.
quickness.
That's embarrassing.
Norma's death was weird because she just kind of got sprayed in the head with a fire hose.
The fire hose goes on
Oh.
for a while.
Yeah.
And it is
It is devastating.
Anyone tries to do something, that hose is on them in a second.
I loved. I probably replayed like 4 of the stunts in that play. Like, plays my 2 favorites if I could quickly. The guy who gets knocked over with the bowl of punch. If you slow mo it,
that guy eats shit too. He's going for a while.
He misses the bowl at first. He does a really cool beginning sequence, and you can tell it's one of those things like you get one of these, you have to like get hit, flip over a table, and knock this thing down. So you can tell he tries to assist it, and he hits it, but he doesn't hit it as well. So he keeps falling, and he reaches up for it again, but it actually has tipped over by that point. And so you can kind of just see it be like, oh no, oh, we got it. Like, he kind of like fades out. The second one is the guy who gets hit off the top of the bleachers, supposed to be on a table. Neither one of us, no one in here has ever been a pro wrestler. All 4 of us have watched a decent amount of wrestling, I would say. It fucking sucks when you're supposed to go through a table and you don't. And that guy
ate
fucking
shit.
didn't.
Yeah.
That guy that stuntman made his money that day.
There's a lot of people eating shit.
He definitely hit the table with his like arm and maybe part of his hip, but his whole ass hit the ground on that scene. And that must have sucked. So ups to that guy. It looked really cool, even if if his landing sucked.
The rampage is great. I like that the principal and that one teacher get electrocuted.
They get electrocuted trying to fix a mic or something.
Yeah.
Very
I
weird.
thought they were trying to fight over the mic. Like they were trying to give conflicting instructions. And that guy he gets electrocuted. I think it's the teacher that gets electrocuted, and then the wires hold him against the thing.
Yep.
He gets more electrocuted, and the whole thing sets on fire. But even leading up to the rampage in the prom sequence, it struck me like similarly to how I feel towards the end of the fun parts of Titanic, where you're just like,
just waiting for it.
Yeah, you just know. Yeah, we're having fun, but like, okay, we know what's gonna happen.
I want to see the propeller guy. Let's get there.
Who's the propeller guy? It's probably the guy who eats shit.
Yeah, it's probably the guy.
Yeah, that's propeller guy for sure.
I would have loved to have known nothing about this movie in the 70s and walked in and watched it.
Yeah, that would have been great.
That would have been so great.
Because it is sort of just like a domestic drama,
right?
Until the 11th hour where it becomes a bloodbath.
I also don't think so. We were looking into this, and it was we only really looked at Wikipedia. So
with telekinesis, I guess.
Yeah.
But very subtly.
Yes. Grain of salt to this. This could be a completely wrong take. It seems like Carrie is actually one of the first movies that utilizes prom as a plot device. So like you think about it, like so prom. We looked it up. Proms have been going on since like the 30s. It seemed like they became a bigger deal in like the 40s and 50s. Like before, like there were things that existed that everyone's like, it's a dance, whatever, like, and then the 40s and 50s was like media pressure, or stuff, and like they were becoming a big deal in like yearbooks and like stuff. So, but like, there's an article about proms and media, and like they talk about movies and stuff that use proms, and there were like 2 in the 40s, and then it skipped to Carrie. And it was like Carrie. And then it was like a bunch of other stuff. And I couldn't think of anything older. Like I couldn't remember if Fast Times did anything with that. That would have been same era, I think.
That's 80s.
Oh, it is 80s?
Yeah.
Ugh. So like I can't even think of a 70s movie.
That list was also a little meh because
so Prom Night was 2 years after this, because that was also on that list.
Yeah, it is.
But that's kind of the thing. It's like, so not only you're walking into Carrie like, oh, this is like, and you're just getting blown away by how ridiculous it is. You're also watching a movie that's putting a lot of emphasis on prom in an era that there probably was a lot of emphasis on prom, but not a lot of media about emphasis on prom. And certainly no emphasis on like pranks or like prom being ruined, like stuff like that.
I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of period stuff that I've watched that's like mid-century high school, it's usually like homecoming is like a bigger deal. And not so much prom, but then definitely by the time we're growing up and like the 90s and 2000s teen movies, it's all leading to prom.
I should find that list.
Too.
There was literally
lots of 80s.
Mean Girls, that ends in prom, right?
That's Spring Fling.
Spring Fling. Okay,
So, because I was going to say the wiki,
kind of like a homecoming.
the wiki page was a little misleading because it included Spring Fling, which is like the juniors prom at the end, or it was like a juniors dance at the end. So if it's including that, it might include other non-prom dances.
So like here's, I did pull up the list real quick, and I'll skip a lot, but you have like Carrie in 76, you have Grease in 78, You have Going Steady in 79, Prom Night in 80, so it was 4 years. You like Footloose, Back to the Future, stuff like. And Back to the Future, even it's like a retro, and it's barely,
Yeah.
But like you look at like comparatively, and there's a bunch. There's like one per year throughout the 80s and 90s, and then 99. It's 10 Things I Hate About You, American Pie, Drive Me Crazy, Jawbreaker, Never Been Kissed, and She's All That. Like, that's our generation was absolutely
that's the class that I was thinking of.
like zapped on that, and then you also
and it's a very specific kind of band that's always playing at those,
Yep.
whether
And
it's Letters to Cleo or someone who's like Letters to Cleo.
that's written by Letters to Cleo,
or
or Adam
Sixpence None the Richer or
Schesslinger.
whatever. Yeah.
2008 also shout out has Bart Got a Room, Prom Night, Twilight, High School Musical 3, and Prom Wars. Same year.
Prom Wars.
Prom Wars.
This time is at prom.
Also Sky High.
My
Not that year.
my senior year, 2013, had the Carrie remake, and I believe it had Prom Night, the horror movie. That was
The remake.
Oh, the
The
James
remake of
Yeah.
that's right. It is a remake.
the
I forgot
James
about that.
Ransone joint.
That's funny. You get both of those
Yeah.
like
It was a good time.
new versions in here. I should
They're
mention
both horror movies about prom.
there's a sequel, Carrie 2. The Anger. It's not the Anger. What is it?
The
Boogaloo?
Wrath.
The
I don't know. The Fury.
Fury. Carrie 2.
The Rage.
The
The
Rage,
Rage.
yes. Not well liked. It's about Carrie's sister. You know how there was a Carrie's sister?
What?
Yeah, of course.
It's half sister from her dad. The implication
Oh,
being
okay.
her
Oh,
dad
yeah,
was like a guy who's had sex with a lot of women.
Was
Yep.
this sanctioned by Stephen King?
I don't believe it is.
Because I know he'll have like recurring characters in his books that maybe have like in a different series. It'll be like, oh, this person was mentioned like in this book, and now they have their own series or something like that. So I
Yes.
didn't know if that was like a thing, but probably not.
There's the 2013 version with Chloe Grace Moretz. There's another version that I think is 2000s.
I think it was like 2002. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Was like a backdoor pilot that was intended to lead into a TV series that never materialized because no one has liked any of the other versions.
J. Smith Cameron got dragged into Carrie too.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, she's the mom.
I think. Oh wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Judy Greer's in the 2013.
Yeah, I saw that because she was
Is she
asking
the
me
gym
like,
teacher?
"Oh, yeah, like
She's the gym teacher,
All right,
Yeah.
that seems like a role for her.
yeah." And I was like,
which has a different name in the novel, and the novel one is
She's
the
not called gym teacher?
2013 one. No, I think it's like it's
Jane.
Frencher, more French.
Jason
Jane Reacher.
Dayardine or something.
Jason London is the Tommy equivalent in Carrie too. Like, what a weird cast this is.
I think Ansel Elgort's in one of those.
Ansel
He's in the
Elgort's
2013 one.
Yeah.
He's
Cooley.
Tommy
He's
in that
Tommy.
other one.
Yeah.
Mina Suvari's in Carrie too. Like, this is a wild.
I didn't even know there was
All
a
right.
Carrie 2. Oh
We're
my
gonna have to
God.
do Carrie 2 next.
A real Mean Girls 2 situation.
The
The Rage.
excuse-
Fury. Oh,
The
the Rage.
Rage.
It's called The
Electric
Rage.
Boogaloo.
Carrie
It's all
2.
the rage. That's probably what the tagline was.
Does this one end in Spring Fling? Carrie 2? Lori?
She goes back in time.
Doesn't even get that far. Too
Wow.
raging.
Two Rage.
She's raging.
All rage, no.
I'm so
Rage.
mad
No
about
mission.
this sister I never met.
What
Maybe.
a weird money grab of a movie.
They
Yeah.
did that a lot in the 70s and 80s. There was just,
Really?
there's a sequel to the Sting.
1999.
Oh, yeah.
Sting 2.
There was a lot of weird sequels.
There
There's
was a The Sting too?
Yeah,
Oh,
in the
God.
heat of the night, Mr. Tibbs has like 2 movies.
I
That's
knew
a
there
trilogy.
was. There's a movie called They Called Me Mr. Tibbs,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
and then like a third one. They still call me Mr. Tibbs.
They still
So weird.
can't stop calling me Mr.
And then the fourth one is they are continuing to call me Mr.
Guys,
Tibbs.
you wouldn't believe it. I'm still Mr. Tibbs.
That's fine.
It's like a
That
police
can work for me,
academy.
though. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is probably like my favorite sequel title.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's got to be the best one, right? I'm trying
Electric
to think.
Boogaloo is still good because I
Electric
use that
Boogaloo's
for
good.
everything.
I really
I
have a
didn't
soft-
forget.
I have a soft spot for Mannequin 2 on the move.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really
Never
good.
seen Mannequin or Mannequin 2, but just
They did Mannequin. No, actually, they might have just done Mannequin 2 on How Did This Get Made? I think they've done.
I want to say they did both, but
Yeah, they think they've either done both or just 2.
I know they definitely did 2.
Yeah, so that's exactly how I feel too. It's like it feels like they've done both. I know they did 2. Let's get back to Carrie.
Carrie.
Much better received than the sequels, spin-offs, remakes, is the 1976 Carrie movie. like we said, pretty legendary, pretty deservedly so. I think we all feel like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we want to get to ratings?
Sure.
Okay,
I'll allow it.
you'll allow it. Okay.
Yes.
I already have a good one, but
I have a good one too.
I also have a good one.
I don't, so let me go
Heart.
second last.
I was gonna say, I like making it
let's end
hard
on
on.
the
I
bad
like
one.
making it hard on myself, so you guys can go first.
Did I
can lose out.
did I say I had one?
No.
Okay, so usually like we're in the middle. I'll be like,
Yeah.
that'll be my rating, and I don't remember doing that.
Good. On
Oh,
a scale of 0.5 to 5 on any scale of your choosing, aside from stars, we're going to give the movie Carrie, 1976, some ratings. These ratings will then be put on the Late to the Movies Letterboxd. That link and all our other links you can find on our link tree, linktr.ee/late to the movies. No numbers, just spell it. That's the only link I give anymore, and it seems like the right idea.
Smart.
Do you want to start?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I give this 5 out of 5 Stephen King's Cassie.
5 out of 5 blue steel looks.
5 out of 5 dirty pillows.
5 out of 5 rainbow hats. She's cooking
Even
in those
to
hats.
prom.
Yeah.
Even oh.
She had matching outfits with it.
Yep.
It was.
You got to fly the flag.
Yeah.
I get it.
You have to traumatize girls and fly the flag. Those are the two things you got to do.
You gotta.
And do jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Well, you got it.
Chris should have just done 4 hours of gym after school. And she would have had to do all that. She'd have to go kill some pigs in the lightning storm. Like,
Yeah. And then she.
so much harder.
Yeah.
You can
Probably
just take a
took
shower
longer.
right after that too. It's
Yeah.
after school.
It's after school. You're home by 4:30 instead of 3:30, Chris.
Yeah.
Like, what's the big deal?
And it doesn't hurt to get some extra
And
exercise.
all her friends were like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not.
Also, I like that they had like the kind of nerdy looking girl with the glasses.
And
Was-
McClurg.
Yeah, it was, and she was just like, "Yeah, no, fuck that, fuck Harry." Like there was
Yeah.
no like, I'm beating down on you, so I'm not the bottom. It was like, nah, we all agreed. We all had a little meeting. Like, fuck you. All
Yeah.
that.
The question I'm doing this month, because it has to be different than the question I did a few months ago when we did the last bout of high school movies. If someone was to play, now you end with the good part, right? You build with the boring part. If a movie was to be made about your experience in high school, who would you want to play you?
I have thought about this, and I also have an answer for Sam.
I guess you should go first then.
For mine, I would like John Cusack, preferably from Better Off Dead.
Yeah, and the rule is you can take any era of a person.
Okay.
Like Broderick in the
Good.
80s, for instance.
And the other one that I thought of that I think would be great for Holty would be Alan Ruck from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
The one I had for Sam was Adam Devine.
Oh, yeah.
That's always one I had for him.
From Pitch Perfect or anything particular? The In-Laws?
Oh, I don't know. He kind of
Game
plays
Over,
the same
man.
thing in a lot of movies.
Mike and Jake need wedding dates.
Mike and
Whatever.
Dave, how
Mike
dare
and
you?
Mike and Dave.
Wow.
No, I think I Pitch Perfect. I'd probably say
Get
movie.
along.
I love Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. It's such a bad movie.
You were awesome. Lee horrible. I hate you.
Do you want to pick one for yourself?
myself?
Yeah.
Or do you want to pick one for Sam?
Yeah. Do you have one?
Oh shit. Okay. I hadn't thought about this as much as everyone else had.
We're all thinking about Sam a lot.
Yeah, we're just thinking about Sam. You guys had really good answers.
You
Like,
can pass.
I still can't
Yeah.
beat. I if you're doing high school, if you're specifically doing like a high school movie person, like it really is just Alan Ruck and Ferris Bueller. That's kind of my vibe, top to bottom.
Bree, who you want to be?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Or who would be you?
Young Rosario Dawson.
Okay. Nothing for in particular, like Clerks 3.
or Josie and the Pussycats, but in high school.
She's dead in like 50 in Clerks 3.
Oh, she is? I didn't watch Clerks 3.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Spoilers for Clerks 3.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I forget what she was in like the.
Sin City.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe? I
that's in
don't
the
know.
2000s.
It was always more like appearance wise, and she always said that she was really nerdy in high school. So
That makes sense. She dated Cory Booker. So, this movie rocks. I'm glad I've fully watched it finally, and I think we kind of all are, because we all gave it 5s.
I was debating whether to give it a 4 or 5 from the sake of like I said earlier, it's not really my vibe of a film. I can still very much appreciate what it is. Yourself. Yeah, but I was like, if I give it a 4 or 5, I just didn't want to see all the like. Ugh.
So close. Thanks, Bree, Vaz, and Sam for being on this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Links to all our stuff is on our link tree, linktr.ee/late to the movies. Spell it out. Don't use numbers. Just alpha, no numeric. That's our tagline. Yeah. Get it on Stitcher while you can. Your days are numbered, though. So switch to Podbean soon. And that's you can find other platforms there too, but that's obviously the first one that comes up. What else? Yeah, thanks for listening. That's always nice. Next episode, I'm not sure on, actually. Ooh. All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Love you all. Bye.
Love you all.